This meeting is being recorded.
Sree Maathrey Namaha. Srikanto Matlo Sajani Sarvamangalajan Kaha Shankaro Mahadevaha Tvam Mande Gajananam Vimalapati Kamalaputi Pustaka Rudrakshasa Sahastapati Kamakshi Pakshmalakshi Kaltavipanchi Vibhasi Vahinchi Manojovam Marutulya Vegam Ditendriyan Kudimatam Varishtam Vadatmajam Vanvyotumukyam Sri Ramadutam Sirsanimam Apadam Partaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokabhiramam Sri Ramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamiham Sri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sastranama Tatuljam Ram Nam Varanane Shivashakti Ayukto Yadibhavati Shakta Pravatana Devam Devo Nakalu Kushlas Svanditum Gataswama Radhyam Hari Hara Virinchagovirpi Pranantum Stotum Vakadam Gatapunya Pravati Tani Yamsum Pamsum Tavacharna Pankero Varam Viranchi Sanjino Jatlokana Uganvati Shorikadam Sastrisam Haras Sankrudenam Gatabasto Duranavim Guru Sarvalokanam Vishabhavrunam Desar Vidyanam Shri Dakshinamurti Namaha Yananandamaya Devanandam Spatgaruti Madaram Sarvidyanam Hayagrim Pasmahi. So in the last class, we discussed briefly about the 52nd Slokam of Soundarya Lahari. In today's class, we will discuss the 53rd Slokam. The 53rd Slokam goes as Vibhakta Traivarnyam Vyatikarartarilanjanatanaya Vibhati Tvanetrat Tritayamidam Ishanadaite. So talking about the three eyes of Mother. Punah Srushtum Devan Druhina Harirudran Rupatan Rajasatvam Vibhritama Iti Gunanam Trayamive. So this slokam is essentially talking about the three colors that are being shown in the mother's three eyes and how those three colors are being compared to the three states of existence, that is to do with the word G-O-D, God, generate, operate and destruct. Because if there is no beginning, there is no end. If there is no end, there is no beginning. Right? So basically what this slokam is talking about is in the Lalita Sahasranamam, the Dhyana slokam, we talk about Sindurarnava. And we are talking about, when we are talking about Sindurarna, Vigraham. So the Sindura color, what does Sindura color mean? The best example is the morning 6 o'clock, evening 6 o'clock, when you see the reddish, yellowish, orange color, that is the best described as Sinduram. Okay, a darker shade of Kashaya. And Sindurarna Vigraham, Trinanam Manikya Maulispuram, Mauli Spurata. So the three Nayanam, from there, if we look at Mother's Vigraham, okay, the Murti, we basically are being told in the Lalita Sahasranamam itself about the Dhyana Sloka, in which the three eyes, which also have Kajal or Kartika applied, which basically are representing white, black, and in between red. Now, why are these three colors important? Vibhakta Traivarnyam Vyatikara Leelanjanataya. Is saying Vibhakta Traivarnyam, the Traivarnas are essentially talking about white, black, in between red. Black is that which absorbs everything into it. Therefore, it can be considered as Rudra, or the god who does the annihilation more than destruction. Because if there is no end, there is no beginning. For us, temporarily to think about the end, if we don't sleep for a night or 2 nights, then we feel extremely disturbed, extremely frustrated, because our body is not able to get recharged with cosmic energy. Similarly, as people age, as people progress through the age, Kalo Jagat Bhakshakaha, the time is eating away everything. Time is the eater of the Jagat. Jayate Gachate iti Jagat. That which is born, that which has to grow, that which is growing has to go. So that is Jagat, the definition of Jagat. Jayate, Gacchate, iti. The one which is born. Since it is born, it has to grow. Since it is growing, someday it has to go. Okay, where should it go? Wherever it has come from. And this is essentially what is there listed in Garuda Purana and the Samvadam, or the dialogue between Nachiketa and Yama, on where do all these people who are dying or dead, where do they go? And this is a conversation that we'll discuss. We discussed in brief in the past, we'll discuss in future also. So black is the Kali Rupam of mother, which has given birth to the Mahakala or Rudra, who does the destruction of Unmesh Nimishotpanna Vipanna Bonavalihi. When the end comes, mother closes her eyes, and then the Rudra will do the Mahakala Tandavam, and that is the Pralaya Tandavam, therefore bringing everything to an end. That is the meaning of the black. The white, all colors come together in order to make white. So when white light goes through the pyramid, it splits through into violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. The first light that gets split is the red light. Okay, therefore red is always shown as the mark of change. Now white light basically talks about the Sthitikara Tattvam, or the Vishnu, the god of sustenance. Operate, in the word God, we have done D, now we are coming back to O. Now operate. Life is mixed of full spectrum colors. Some days we are very happy, some days we are neutral, some days we are sad, some days we are extremely sad. So these are the representations of the 7 colors. The 7 colors are a representation of 7 days. Why 7 days? Why not the 8th day? If you look at Sanatana Dharma, we have a lot of saptahas, Bhagavata Saptaham. Okay, we talk about many of these saptahas that we do, Ramayana, Sundarakanda Saptaham, because any person who is born or dead has to be born on one of these 7 days or has to die on one of these 7 days. So when the saptahas are prescribed to us, the golden rule of saptaha means read it every day to some extent. If you can't read the 100 slokas of Soundarya Lahari every day, read 1 sloka. If you can't read or recall any of the stories of Bhagavatam every day, recall the story of Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Leela. For example, Putana Samharam of Krishna, right? And our Krishna stealing the butter. You don't really need to put a lot of effort to recall this. You can sit wherever you're sitting and just think of the Chora Leela of Krishna, where Krishna goes to steal the butter, and one day when he's trying to steal the butter, he commands one of the gopis, she ties bells around the pot. So the moment anybody touches it, the bells will start ringing and making sound. So when Krishna comes to that house to steal the butter, he commands that, hey, bells don't ring. So as long as he's giving butter to all the other Gopabalas that are joining him, there are some monkeys that have joined him, there are some animals. Every time he was giving them butter, the bells did not ring. But after giving everyone, ensuring everybody got butter, he took a piece and was putting it in his mouth, and the bells started ringing. Then Krishna said, what is this? I have commanded you. And the bell said, please forgive me, Lord. We are so used to ringing whenever the prasadam is offered to the Paramatma. As long as you were giving prasadam to others, we followed your rule. But the moment you were offering it yourself or you were eating it, our old habits die hard. Our habits from many generations we could not control, and therefore we started ringing, and therefore getting Krishna caught to the gopis. Not that he got caught, he basically surrendered himself to be caught. Otherwise, who can catch that Paramatma? This is essentially the essence on how we need to recall. So these colors that talk about, some days we have headache, some days we are traveling on work, some days we are doing some of the house chores, some days we are trying to attend to our kids, our family, right? And therefore we are not able to give the same quality time to our dhyana, but that should be okay. During that time, like Sri Rama Rama Rameti has been given, whenever you don't have time to chant the whole Sahasranamas of Vishnu, you can recall this Sri Rama, Sri Rama, Sri Rama. Similarly, whenever you don't have the full time to chant the Soundarya Lahari or Lata Sahasranam, continue to chant. You are doing whatever chores you are doing, you can continue to chant Sree Maathrey Namaha, right? Or your favorite name. And this habit of Saptaha is essentially what will reinforce. Just because you are chanting, you will start getting a lot of faith, you'll start getting a lot of trust, you will start getting a lot of confidence, saying, I have Paramatma or the Parashakti on my side. Why should I worry? I'm not causing trouble to anyone, knowingly or unknowingly. And therefore, I am doing these karmas as being ordered, as being ruled by the Parashakti or Paramatma. And therefore, I am being very dharmic, so I have nothing to worry, because the karma, karta, kriya is that Parashakti herself or the Paramatma himself. And therefore, if I need to get a headache, maybe I said something to someone in my past days, months, years in this life or the past lives that caused really headache for them. Okay, and therefore I am suffering this headache today. And while I'm suffering this headache, rather than sleeping, I am able to think of the Krishna Paramatma's Choralila, or the Krishna Paramatma's, Jaralila, when he basically stole the clothes of women, young women who were taking bath. It's not because he wanted to see them without clothes. It's basically when one becomes Digambara, like in the Tatreya Sampradaya, we say Digambara, Digambara, Sripada, Sri Vallabha Digambara. Digambara is essentially applicable to Shiva. When you use Dik, the directions, as Ambara to cover your body, you essentially are identifying your body as one with the nature. And therefore, you see Avadutas never typically wear any clothes. Could be a Ramana Maharshi, right, who did not wear any clothes other than a loincloth. Now, the reason it's important is, as long as we keep identifying ourselves with the body, we will have the shame. The moment we identify ourselves with the nature, we will forget the gender, we'll forget that you and I are different. We will forget that, I am being identified by the body and a name. The Nama and Rupa will disappear. So I'm being reminded of this beautiful story of Vyasa and Sukamarshi. One day, as Sukamarshi was born, and was born a Brahmagyani, born to Vyasa, right? And Sukamarshi who did not want to get married. Vyasa wanted Sukha to get married and have kids, so the lineage would continue. Sukamarshi told his father Vyasa that, Father, please don't pull me into the samsara sagara. And saying that, he said, I will go to Himalayas and do tapas. And Sukha was walking and Vyasa was running after him, saying, Oh, my son, please get married. As Sukamarshi was walking, there were women who were taking bath in a pond without clothes. When Sukha was walking, they all came out nude, doing namaste to Sukamarshi. Sukamarshi just walked, ahead, blessing, raising his hand. When Vyasa was walking, and Vyasa came now, all the young girls dipped in water, covered themselves until their neck, and raised their hands doing namaste. Vyasa also blessed them, but he was surprised because when he was at the back and his son was in the front, he saw all these girls coming out and doing namaste. So he asks the girls, "What is this?" When my son, who does not wear clothes, is a Digambara, and he is in the prime of youth, is walking without clothes. All of you not wearing clothes have come out and did namaste to him. When I, an old saint, is walking ahead with all the clothes, you are not coming out like you did for my son. And you are basically in water and doing namaste to me. Why this differentiation? Then the girls spoke and said, "Your son, though is in the prime of youth and does not wear clothes, he does not see a difference between, he does not know the difference between man and women. He does not know the difference between the man's body and the woman's body. But whereas you, Vyasa, you know the difference between a man's body and a woman's body. The Kama Vasanas does not touch your son's body and mind, but the Kama Vasana has touched you in the past, your body and mind. Therefore, we cannot come out. Your son is a true Digambara. And therefore, he has no bias towards genders, he has no bias towards beauty, he has no bias towards attraction, organs. And therefore, we have done that, is what they have said. Now, the Saptaha essentially is the 7 days of our existence, which talks about if we continue to keep recalling these stories from the Astadasa Puranas, Upanishads, or our Guru Vakyas, the stories of miracles, stories of truth, stories of faith, then we continue to get faith. That is Mother's eye with the white color shade, which has given birth to Vishnu. Now, the other eye, which is essentially the shade of red. When you need to create something, you need to have Rajoguna. Rajoguna means the desire to create something. And that red color, essentially, the white light splits. The first wavelength that comes is the red. And this red color is an indication of the god of generation, Brahma. And this color of Brahma, this color that represents Brahma, essentially says, before anything is created, anything has to be created, first the mental plane has to have a desire, a kama. For example, Hanuman wanted to go to Suvarna Lanka or Sri Lanka. Valmiki Maharshi in Sundarakanda explains Hanuman on his mental plane already reaches Lanka, and therefore he becomes extremely confident that he can cross the ocean. Who can cross the ocean and go? Right? Ocean in which there are dangerous Rakshasas, ocean in which there are dangerous snakes. Nagamata Surasa comes out and becomes an obstacle to Hanuman. And he realizes the one who has come out is none other than Parashakti, because she says, "Come into my mouth, I want to eat you." Right? If she really wants to eat him, she will just grab him and swallow him. And this is Buddhimatam Varishtam, the highest upasaka of Srividya, Hanuman himself, realizes the one who has come out in this Bhayankara Rupam is none other than Nagamata Surasa. Therefore, he addresses her as Dakshayani, right? And therefore, why Dakshayani? Why not other names? Because mother, when she came in Daksha's daughter's form, she did not sustain herself for a long time. She came there for a word she has given to Daksha and his wife. And then she went back, becoming Parvati in the next Janma, being born as the daughter of Himavanta or Menaka, Himavanta and Menaka. Now, similarly, Hanuman addresses her as Dakshayani because he knows this Rupam that has come is not her permanent Rupam, which will go back. And therefore, that intellect devotee Hanuman represents and addresses Nagamata Surasa as Dakshayani. Okay, now, therefore, Hanuman also applies Sinduram all over his body. Okay, and therefore, if you go to ancient Hanuman temples, like Tadban temple or other temples, you will see the whole stone in which Hanuman is emerging is completely smeared and applied on kumkuma, sindurarna. Again, the sindura varnam that gives power, the change. Okay, so this is essentially the three colors that are coming out, and what this talks about is how mother becomes her vibhakta traivarnam vetikarata leelanjana tanaya vibhati tvannetra trita yamida mishana daite Ishanam Sarvavidyanam Ishwaram Sarvabhutanam Brahmadipati Brahmanodipati Brahma Shivome Astu Sada Shivom, the one who is favorite of the omnipresent Paramatma, that is Ishanam, Ishana Daite, that Ishana's Daite, Ishani. Therefore, O Mother, you are the one who is creating all this cosmos just by your Kamakshi Tattvam. And your Kamakshi Tattvam essentially, when the Kartika is applied, when I focus on your eyes, those three eyes will start appearing for me in my plane of dhyana or meditation, like the Bilva Patras that are being offered to the Shivalingam. And this Bilva Patram, or your eyes that are representing the Bilva Patram, when I continue to focus, I see the black light or the black color, I see the white color, and I see the red color. Where are these black, white, and red? When you apply the kajal or katuka, that is the black color. Okay, so the shade of black is being applied, and when black is being applied, which essentially causes the Rudra's annihilation by turning Shiva into Rudra, you are bringing this form. The whiteness of the eye that I can see in your eye, which has a brief in between black eyeball, the whiteness of the eye is the sustenance. Because majority of our life, we are born a minute or a second where our time has been listed, right? When all of us are coming out of the mother, probably it will take few seconds, for us to get out of our mother's womb. And as we are, so therefore, our time is always recorded and documented in the form of minutes. Now, this red color, where is it? Under the eyelash. Under the eyelash, when you open it, so your birth is taken in a moment. Your death, no matter, nobody knows when it is coming. Since we are born, we know what time we are born at. Okay, so you can always go back and look, just like you can look under your eyelash, or you can flip your eyelash and look at the mirror, the redness shade which has been created in one stroke. And then the sustenance part, the whiteness of the eye, takes a longer time, because all of us live through certain number of years. When death comes, the time of death, when it comes, everything is being absorbed. All the prana is being absorbed, and our soul packs up all the prana energy and leaves the body through one hole. Our body is full of Nana Chidra Gadodhara Sthita Mahadeepa Prabhavaswaram. Going back to Dakshinamurti Stotram, right? Our soul accumulates all the power, withdraws all the power from every organ of the body, and looks for a hole based on which hole it leaves the body from. It leaves the body from navels downward, then we will get hina janma. We will go back, for example, if somebody is a human, he or she might not get the human janma in the next one. If it leaves from navel or above the navel, which means if we are in human janma, we will still continue to get human janma, but much more effective human janma that will lead towards the spiritual reality, the Sanatana Dharma, identifying our sense of purpose. And but nobody knows through which randhram the prana has left. If great devotees or great sadhus or great sadhakas come, they look at the body, they can figure out through which hole the prana has left. There will be a small dilation at the hole at which it leaves, like a bump, okay, or a mark, or a black hole kind of a thing. And that not everybody can recognize. Only the people who are known to look for it will recognize, and therefore can decide how the exit of the soul happened. Did they have Utkramana when the Nishkamana happened, when the withdrawal happened? Did they go through the Urdhvamukam, upward movement, or Adhomukam, downward movement? And therefore, they can look at it. And in great yogis, when they leave the body, the kapalam on the skull on the top splits. And for some yogis, it happens when they are alive, like Ganapata Mahamuni. One of the person who named Venkatraman as Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi is Ganapati Mahamuni. Okay, he wrote Uma Sastram, and he was the one who discovered Ramana Maharshi by the Patal Lingam and said, this boy who is sitting and meditating here is a Bhagavan, and he is an avataram of Subramanya. So Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi is an avataram of Subramanya, Gnanarupam, and Ganapati Mahamuni is an avataram of Dunti Ganapati of Varanasi. Now, he, after getting the secrets of dhyana and meditation from Ramana Maharshi, he sat in the Virupaksha cave and meditated for 21 days. On the 21st day, his skull split and the blood started oozing out briefly. And then he had what we call the Kapala Vedana and Moksha. So now he was a Jivan Mukta, and he followed the secretive sadhana paddhati, or the route that was revealed to him by Ramana Maharshi, because he was ready. Not that it cannot be revealed to others. If others do it without practicing, preparing the body, then they will have extreme results, and some of them can go mad as well, right? And this happens. He continued to live for a long time after that as well. These are called Jivan Muktas. And the great devotees, great sadhakas, when they leave the body, they actually leave the body upward, by doing sadhana. That is the reason meditation actually helps in order to constantly keep looking at, the Sambhavi Mudra, the third eye that all of us have. What is the third eye? When you close your eyes and if you think of an elephant, on the mental plane, you are able to see an elephant. If you think of Sri Rama, you are able to see Sri Rama Pattabhishekam with Mother Goddess Sita, Hanuman sitting at the feet, his brothers Lakshmana, Bharata, Shatrughna, all accompanying Rama. Now, when we are visualizing these things, who is visualizing it? That is the third eye that is active in you, I, and everyone. When we close our eyes and meditate, we are trying to limit the input that continues to cause the visual distractions for us. And therefore, by trying to focus these two physical eyes on the third cosmic eye, or the Jnana Netram that we have, that can take us to any place in the cosmos without really having a physical displacement. You're sitting in your house, you want to go to Tirupati, and then climb all the 7 hills and go to Tirumala. And as you are entering the Garbhagudi, you want to witness, that crowbar with which Lord Venkateshwara was hit. And as the feet are getting wet, as you are going inside, you are seeing that Tulabharam in which people are weighed on one side and the jaggery is weighed on the other side and offered. As you are going inward, you are seeing the temple as you are walking by those brass enclosures that are taking you to by Dvajastambam, around which the dry rice is tied to, and that Dvajastambam has Annam, cooked rice offered around, and a lot of people who are walking around are touching it. As you are walking by the Dwajastambham, trying to touch it, touching the feet of the Dwajastambham, which is not covered and which is by stone. As you are entering the Garbhagudi, you are seeing the Ananda Nilayam covered by the gold. As you are about to walk in and hearing the Govindanamam and listening to that Ananta Padmanabha Avataram that is right in front of on the Ananda Nilayam, and seeing as you are walking by, you are getting eager to enter the Ananda Nilayam Garbhalayam and look at that Lord of the Cosmos, Sri Venkateshwara, who is being seen by others in none other than the light of the lamp. And as you are able to enter, you are trying to recall all the desires that you have, that you want to list in front of the Lord. As you enter the Garbhalayam, as you are climbing up the wooden plank and going inward, you see towards right there is a Garuk Manta doing Namaste to the Lord. And as you are trying to raise your feet and look at that Lord Venkateshwara, you are being mesmerized by the Om Namo Narayanaya chant that is constantly going on. And before you could look at, as people in front of you are raising their feet and looking at Lord Venkateshwara in that lamp's light, and everyone is raising their hands and doing Namaskaram. You are longing to get a glimpse of that Lord of Seven Hills. As you are not able to, you are turning the other side where their big mirror is kept, and you are trying to look at the Lord's reflection and the camphor and the Namam in that Tirunamam, in that reflection, and trying to recall all your desires. Your mind freezes for a fraction of a second as you start looking at that Divyamurti of Lord Venkateshwara with Bhudevi and Vyohalakshmi on the chest that is being covered. As you are walking inwards, your eyes are tearing up with the tears of bliss as you walk inside from the right and are being gently pushed to come towards the side and walk in front so people at the back can take darshan. You are forgetting yourself, whatever desires you had, you forgot. Your brain freezes as you're looking at the Divya Kalyana Mangala Murti. You are in a state of ecstatic joy that pauses your time, thoughts, freezes your mind. As you're walking out, you are thanking him, saying, Lord, I don't know when you will give me a darshan like this again. Please do call me and don't forget this son or daughter of yours. And thank you so much for giving this great darshan of yours as you are walking out, as you are being gently pushed out, as the Lord disappears from the vantage of your eyes. You are trying to stretch towards the right and trying to take a glimpse of the Lord as you walk out, gently trying to do the Sastanga Namaskaram there as other devotees looking carefully at, not trying to get stuck in anybody's feet. And then you go to the Vakula Mata and thank her for giving a darshan of her son, and you look at how graciously and how lovingly she is watching at all the prasadams that are being cooked, that are going to be offered to her son, who is continuing to stand 22 to 23 hours a day, looking, listening to all the desires of the devotees who come there, and waiting for that one Dharmatma devotee that comes, one devotee or two devotees a day, that actually do the hard earning of money, who are putting the money in the hundi, which he can very happily remove that Dharmarjana and give it to Kubera, who has loaned money for his wedding with the Akash Raja's daughter. And as you walk out and trying to do pradakshina and you sit and just reflect back, then you recall all your desires that you wanted to tell, and you sit by the Ananda Nilaya steps on the outside, and you are going back and trying to chant a Vishnu Sahasranamam or chanting the Ramanamam or Lord Venkateshwara or Vishnu's namas and thanking him for the darshan he has given, trying to see if you can go back and get a darshan, on trying to get wondering when you will get a darshan again and when the Lord will call you to the seven hills. As you're walking the other side, you will be looking at the Sikaram of the Ananda Nilayam and looking back, walking towards it. You will see the Vimana Venkateshwara trying to do Namaste to it, understanding, oh, this is how the cosmic Venkateshwara comes and goes into the temple. As you come back, you will see the Mahalakshmi that is at almost 9 feet height. Even the tallest of the tall people are trying to raise their hands and keep the coins. and therefore touch the feet of the mother as you come towards out. You are walking out looking at the Lord, trying to take a glimpse of the Lord if at all you can, and trying to lose yourself in those Govinda Namas. As you walk out, you very satisfactorily turn towards the left and take the prasadam that has been offered to the Lord under the supervision of Akulamata, and then sit and eat that prasadam, trying to rejoice and relish. Now, sitting where we are sitting, we went to Tirumala and went and did the darshanam of the Lord and came back. Where is this possible? This is possible in the Jnana Netram. This is the third eye that makes all of this possible. When we sit and meditate on Mother and her three eyes, our past will just be washed, rinsed. And as we continue to focus on Mother's eyes, the anxiety for future will be completely reduced. And when we start losing the dimension of time, we are able to continue to chant one name after another, one stotram after another, without really worrying about it. And then suddenly your son or daughter comes and says, Mother, Father, I need this. Then you realize what time it is, and that is the day where you have done the true puja. Even if they have disturbed you halfway through Vishnu Sahasranam or Lalita Sahasranamam, the Sahasranamas essentially mean infinite names. But when they are given out by the Lord, they are Gaunikas. They are representing different gunas of the Lord. And that day, as you were lost in chanting the names of the god or goddess, you have done the true puja. And this Slokam of Soundarya Lahari basically talks about the different shades of colors that are bound to come to us in our lifetime. And no matter which color comes based on the karma that we have done in the past, that karma, if it is good, it would be amplified to give us the pleasure of bliss by connecting it to a divine. You want to eat a sweet, you are longing, you have a sweet tooth. The day you will get prasadam of Puri, you will get prasadam of Tirupati. You are longing for a hot, you will get vada prasadam from Tirupati. You will get, vada prasadam from Vijayawada, Kanakadurga temple. So the divine will try to fulfill your desires by attaching punya to it. You have a papa palam coming in where you have to get the pain of breaking a bone. Your toe, little finger on the toe, or little finger on the hand will get a hair, on the crack, and or a mild crack, which is it a bone breaking? Yes, it is a bone breaking. It is an air crack, right? And is it really a fracture? It's not a fracture. You don't even have to leash. You don't have to even cast it. It will naturally get healed, provided you just put a bandage. And that's how mother or father will continue to mitigate our karmas if they're on the negative side. If they're on the positive side, they'll try to amplify. And this shlokam of Mother Vibhakta Traivarnyam Vetikarata Leelanjanataya Vibhati Tvannetra Tritarmidamishanadayate Punusrustum Devan Druhina Hari Rudran Ruparatan. Druhina Hari. Hari is the one who is consuming all our papa. Rudra is the one who is burning all our papas and turning them into ashes. So when we continue to focus on Mother's three eyes and to continue to do meditation on the three eyes, our papas punyas are all being consumed in order to lead us to the path of mukti. And this is a reality when you are doing meditation on your mother and her eyes. What happens is your generate-operate-destruct in you will be controlled, and therefore you are able to go to the Turiya and Turiyatita, fourth and fifth states. And therefore you will be able to continue to be in a state of meditation and dhyana for a longer time. When the final time comes, when the prana has to leave the body, because everybody who is born has to die one or the other day, right? Even the avatars in Rama Avatara, Rama's body was never found in Sarayu, because Rama's body, as he entered the Sarayu river. His body was never to be found. Krishna, when was born, he was never born with normal. He told his mother and father, appearing as Lord Vishnu with 4 hands, that I am going to be born to you as a son, and therefore showing the divyatvam, that their birth and their death are not the same as other humans. Okay, and this is a brief attempt at this Slokam, the 53rd Slokam of Soundarya Lahari. We'll conclude the class today here. I will chant the Mangalam Gushri, and after that we'll conclude. We'll resume in the next class with the next Slokam. Mangalam Guru Shri Chandramaulishwarage Shakti Ganapati Sharadambika Shakaracharyanige Kala Bhairavage Kali Durgige Veeradhira Sura Hanuma Maruti Charanage Mangalam Guru Shri. Stay blessed. Sree Maathrey Namaha. We'll meet in the next class.